Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we'll learn how to connect Trello cards together across different boards. So onto this tutorial, we're going to demonstrate to you how you can link Trello boards together to create one master board with several subordinate boards. So for us to be able to begin with this, just a quick overview on what Trello is all about. This is actually a popular project management tool that uses boards, lists, and cards to help you organize and prioritize your projects in a flexible and visual way. So imagine if you have multiple boards, then you have trouble moving cards from another board, then you're onto the right guide. So we'll create a master task list board in here where tasks from all other boards will be consolidated. So this will eliminate the need to manually copy tasks across different boards. So for us to be able to begin, so as you can see, we're currently onto my Trello workspace and I only have one board. So we could use this one as our master board. Let's go ahead and click onto that and we're going to rename this one as our master board. The next thing that we could do is to go ahead and create another board. So let's head back here under boards and we need to create another one so that we could test this one out. Create a new board and we're going to name this test board. So let's create that. And as you can see, it will go ahead and open the newly created board. So let's create some list for this one. So our first list would be to do, and we'll also have in progress, and then we'll have done. So click on the add list, and you should be able to see something like this. So you have the test board already, and let's open this in a new tab, and let's open as well our master board. So let's click onto that. And as you can see, we have two boards already, the master board, and we also have the other board, which is test board. So let's create a scenario in here. So we will need to eliminate the need to manually copy the different tasks that we have in here, like to do here on our master board to the test board. So let's create a task here. And then normally you'd have to log into another board to add or update the task. Like if you want to add a card here, you'll add another one, like you'll copy this one out. But for this one, since we will add something in here and we will integrate another board to another board, so instead of this setup, we'll only need to add the task once and it will automatically appear onto our other board. So if I add a task here with a label name task one, then this one, instead of manually copying this task out to our test board, this should go ahead and automatically be updated, or this should automatically show up onto our test board. So to begin, we need to set up the boards first. So we've gone ahead and already created a test board and a master board. So this could be a client to master structure that we have in here. So we have the master board wherein we're going to go ahead and assign the task in here, and it should go ahead and show automatically here onto our test board. So for us to be able to do this, what we need to use is the automation. So here on the master board, we're going to go ahead and plan that one out. We have the specific icons here onto the upper part. So this one is called automation. So this is the logo for that. You'll just have to click onto this, and there are different options that you could do. We have the rules, buttons, email reports, and send feedback. So we're going to use rules for this. So these will create rules that will automatically respond to actions, schedule, or a card's due date. So let's click onto that one. Now, this is a quick overview on what rules is all about. So these are simple. When one thing happens, another thing will happen automatically. So onto this part, since we want to connect the two Trello boards that we have in here. So what we need to do, if something is updated here or a card is added onto our master board, it should automatically be added onto our test board. So we're going to choose a list for that. And for us to be able to begin this, another thing that we need to set up is also the labels. So labels, we're going to go ahead and trigger our automation for this. So to create some labels, just head back here onto the master board. Onto the upper right corner of the screen, there is this three dots. Click onto that and we'll find in labels. So we'll add in some labels in here to go ahead and proceed. To edit each labels in here, there is a pen icon here onto its side. Just go ahead and click onto that and you could adjust this. Let's name this label one. Right after, you could also change the color for that. Edit this. Let's name this label 2. Let's save that. And we'll add 3 labels in here. Click on save. So there is also an option for you to enable colorblind friendly mode for the labels in there. Now, right after, since we have set up already our labels, another thing or the next step that we need to do in here is to create the automation rules. So we create a rule. Since we're here already onto the automation, we're just going to go ahead and click onto rules here and then click on to create automation. So the trigger will be a label change in here. So let's add a trigger in here. So since we're using the labels as a trigger in here, instead of card move, the trigger we're going to use is card changes. So when the green label. So you'll use the trigger for this or choose any of the labels that we have set up earlier. So for example, we'll use label 1. So when the green label is added to by anyone in here. So this is our trigger when the green label 1 is added to a card by anyone. So let's click onto this plus icon to add this. So the next step that we need to do is to choose an action. So we'll go ahead and move. And since you want to integrate or connect both of cards together, instead of using move, we're going to use copy the card onto the top of the list. We'll need to use or choose the name of the list in here like to do, and then choose in the board name. And we're going to choose the test board. So from the master board to the test board. So this is the trigger. When the green label 1 is added to a card by anyone, then this card will be copied out to the top of the list of to do on the board test board, which is this one. So it should be added in here. So you'll just need to go ahead and click onto the plus icon to add that action. And this is the overview already. So to create a rule, there are 3 steps. Select a trigger, select an action, review it. So this is the review stage. Now here onto the actions as well, there is an option for you to go ahead and copy the card without comments or to add in a comment. And also we need to click onto this one to add a link to the cards together. So that if that one is copied out onto the other board, you'll have a link already onto that specific card to click onto this so that you'll get redirected. So let's click onto add, and once the review is complete, we'll just have to click onto save for that one. And then right after, this automation is automatically enabled already. So when the green label 1 is added to a card by anyone, it will copy the card to the top of the list onto the to-do on board, onto the other board that we have, which is a test board, and link the cards together. So let's try this one out. So I have a to-do in here, which is my card. We're just going to edit the labels for this one. Click onto label 1, and this should go ahead and be added onto our other board. So since this one is labeled already, as you can see, it will update and it will add an attachment in here, which is when you click onto this, you'll get redirected onto your test board. And when you head onto the test board, we have the card already added in here. So let's head back again to our other board and let's try to add in another card. So let's add a card in here and let's try to edit this test card. And let's click onto that. And to move this or connect this to the other board, let's edit the label, label 1, and let's wait for this one to refresh. So it will automatically add in the link in here so that you could get redirected onto the test board. And if you click onto that, you'll get redirected in here and you could see that one as well onto your test board. So we have the test card in here. And if you click onto that, there is also a link for you to get redirected back again onto the master card board. Another thing that you could do once you have the card set up already in here is, for example, if you want to do a project planning in here, let's click onto that. And we'll try to edit some things in here, like we're gonna add some checklist. So let's add checklist 1. And we could add some things in here like 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, we have the one added already in here onto our project planning. So we could also do the same thing and connect this onto our other board. So we have updated this one onto the master board. Let's just edit the label to this to label 1. And it will go ahead and give you an option to go ahead and adjust this onto the other board, which is our test board. So if you click onto that, we have that one in here. So we have the checklist here. Now to apply these changes here onto our other board, we're also gonna head back again here onto the automation and we're gonna click onto buttons in here. So we're gonna go ahead and try to create a card button in here. Click onto that, create a button. So we're gonna add a button name in here first, like completed. Then we're going to add some action. So we're going to move the card to the top of the list in here. And then onto the list name, we'll choose done. And then we're going to add that. So that is our trigger in here. So let's remove this other one first. And right after, the next step that we need to do, we're going to head here onto dates. We're going to use this. If this one is complete already, let's click onto that. And as you can see, we have two already. And we have Cascade in here. Let's click onto that as well. And we have this one for each card link in the attachment. So we're going to click that one as well. And these are the card buttons that we have already. Let's add back this one, the date, mark due date as complete. And we'll add another one of move the card onto the top of the list, just like this. So this is how your action should look like. So this is the workflow for this. Move the card onto the top of the list of done. Mark the due date as complete for each card link in the attachments. Mark the due date as complete and then move the card to the top of the list. Now we'll just have to save onto that. So as you can see, we have created this button already to move the card to the top of the list. Done. Mark the due date as complete for each card link in the attachment. Then mark it as complete again and move the card to the top of the list. So you'll just need to copy these actions out and we're gonna enable that this one is used by anyone in workspace can enable this button. So this is the button for that and we're gonna create the button. And right after, and since we have this already, let's try this one out. So what we did earlier is we've checked already some things here onto the checklist in project planning, and we have added the label to Laura. So this should show already in there. But what we need to do, since we have added an automation which is completed in here, we're just gonna make sure that this one is labeled as done. So we have clicked onto completed already in here. So as you can see, it was moved to done already onto our master board. Let's try to see onto our test board in here. And as you can see, it is also done here onto our test board. So let's try out another thing in here, like this kickoff meeting. Let's do the same thing that we did earlier. Let's add in some checklist. So let's add in different items in here. So if you're done already with that, we're going to check onto these things. We're going to click onto completed in here. Just make sure that this one is labeled with the same label so that it would be moved automatically. So since we have completed that, it was moved onto the top of the list of done, and it should go ahead and show the same thing here onto our test board. So let's refresh that one out. And it should show here onto the top of the list. And that is just a simple way on how you connect Trello cards together across different boards using the buttons and automations that we have here onto Trello. And if you think this tutorial has been helpful to you, then don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and we'll see you on to our next video.